Welcome back into the Nest ATL. I am your host, Miles Garrett, joined with a special guest today. His name is George Foster. You see the hat on his head, a former damn good dog, first round draft pick back in the day, played under rather, Mark Richt, one of the best coaches in school history. George, thanks so much for joining. How you doing today?
Doing good, man. Happy to talk to you and let's get this thing going.
Absolutely, absolutely. So obviously, you got the hat on your head.
Yes, this is
What has been your perspective as of late of the Georgia
Mhm,
Bulldogs? They went back to back. They've had a couple of
mhm,
good seasons here. They had a pretty young
mhm,
team, different starting quarterback this year with Gunnar Stockton, but have fallen short in the Sugar Bowl 2 years in a row. What are your thoughts on
mhm.
the Dogs right now?
I think the dogs are right where you want them to be. If you're, if you're a fan of if you're a fan of any team, I think if this was your team the last 5 years, uh 5, 6 years, you're happy. You know what I mean? There was a long time where, you know, Georgia didn't reach these heights. In my senior year, we won the SEC for the first time in 20 years. You know what I mean? Since Herschel did. And so that was that was kind of I would say that kicked off the current era that we in, and then it took another leap when Kirby took over a decade ago. And so uh I think we're in a good place. I think they're only gonna get better. You know what I mean? So I'm happy with the dogs.
Has there been anything the last couple of seasons that you've seen to where, obviously there's been some great teams out there. We saw the run that Indiana made this past season, but specifically with Georgia, have you seen anything to where you're like, okay, this is specifically what needs to be improved upon if they want to get back to that 21, 22 level?
What needs to be improved upon? Um, I think we have to maintain focus, um, no matter what, when it's getting to the, down to the nitty-gritty. You know what I mean? We've won two SEC championships in a row. Um, that's great. That's awesome. Gotten to the playoffs. Um, but we just have to maintain focus when it comes to getting over that hump again. The college football has changed as to where um the approach you can keep some of your same approach, but you have to know that you're not gonna have the depth you once had. You know what I mean? And so you got to take advantage of opportunities when you get them on the field because you never know what's gonna happen. Um uh I don't think to me, just my being my background, we're not in the way I look at it, we're not in panic mode at all. That's a really, in my opinion, the best program in the country. Whether you whether they're spending 20 million or $20, best program bar none in the country. You ask these GMs and coaches in the NFL where they want their players from. Is Come on, man. We got sound bites for days coming from this past combine and previous combines. If you keep it real with yourself as a football fan, whether you want to admit it or not, you know what the premier program is in the country. And so that hasn't changed for Georgia. Does that mean they're going to win it all the time? No. Like how many teams have won back-to-back national championships? You know what I mean? It hasn't been many, maybe a handful. So they're not in panic mode. They still have that championship pedigree. They still have the best coach in the country. Um, they're still recruiting well. Um, at the rate Georgia does with nature, they're really good program. I'm confident in them.
Oop, sorry, I think I lost you there for a second, George. You still there?
Hello?
There we go. I still got you. Okay,
Yep.
yeah, sorry, froze on me there. No, very cool. But kind of building on that, the amount of players in the draft this year. Georgia obviously was a pretty young team this past year, all things considered. When you look at some of the powerhouse programs they've had in years past, is there anyone coming out of Georgia this year that was in the combine? Is anyone that particularly caught your eye as to, hey, this guy could be that dude at the next level?
Really, at the combine, of all the combine, just to let the people know, it's kind of on the surface level, people know what the combine is for. Behind the curtain, um, for scouts and things, the combine is used to confirm what you already know or suspect, or make you go back and get some confirmation. You may think a way about a guy athletically, you get to the combine and it confirms what you saw on tape. You might have some great tape, and you get to the combine and say, this guy is not doing well this week. And then so it takes you back to the tape again. Okay, did you miss something? You know, so with the Georgia guys, um, man, they all did well. Like everybody did great. From what I can tell from those that got invited, everybody like the linemen like Monroe and I think Michael Morris. I think I forgot that whatever that metric they use where they add up everything, and they had like top five scores of over the last out of the last 1,500 guys at their position. Even back before I was drafted. You know what I mean? So they're athletically good guys, and they'll play good football next year. So you can count on like last year, even though I didn't think the O line last year played as great as a unit every time they hit the field, but there was still what, four guys from the O line that started in the NFL this year. And so I can see Morris and Monroe Freeling playing good football in the NFL next year. And then of course you got the skill guys. They ran well. You got Kobe did exactly what I thought he was gonna do, because you see it on the film. You see the explosiveness, you see the agility, you see the speed for a guy that size. They have Zach Branch, ran in the 4.3s. He even ran. I see Branch as more quick than Blazing, although he had some house calls this year, and even he ran faster than I thought he would run. So those guys showed up and showed out. So I think they'll be fine moving forward.
Absolutely. And correct me if I'm wrong, but did you play with Kirby Smart sort of at the beginning of your tenure there?
Yeah, I played with Kirby my freshman year. And
And
then he came back. He did after he went, I think Kirby went to the Colts maybe. And I think when he came back from doing giving the pros a try, he was him and Bobo were I think were our GAs.
what was 22, 23, 24-year-old Kirby Smart like with you?
With me, shoot, I'm a freshman, man. He probably didn't mind pay me no mind. You know, Kirby probably got to know me better as a GA than he did as a player. I can't remember a whole bunch. Now, I'm 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 kind of a big brother type, so I probably did have some, you know, I guess some relationships with some of the freshmen when I was a senior, but Kirby, he was probably doing his own thing back when I was a freshman, and probably hanging with, guys that are similar to him. The big uglies hang out together, the DBs hang out together, and things of that nature. So that's probably how it was with Kirby.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Now that you mentioned it earlier, that 2002 SEC championship, to do what you guys did, as rare as it was at the time, it's become fairly common now for Georgia, but to do what you
Yeah,
guys did at that point, what was that like to be a part of that squad with Mark Rick, David Green, all those different guys, David Pollock even?
it was unbelievable, man. Like I redshirted, so you get that the first year, the second year. So the first year you're pretty good, but then get blown out by Tennessee, the eventual national champion, get blown out by them at home, and season doesn't go as you want to. And the next three didn't go as they probably should have, considering the type of talent that Georgia had at the time. And then go as well as you thought it would. Like I played with a ton of NFL guys. I played with more NFL guys than most people um, would ever play with in college, and we still didn't have anything to show for it. And so, it would have been nice to play in the national championship that year. I really thought we were that good. I thought we would beat Miami or Ohio State, either one, because we were really good, and our defense was just nasty. And so, I thought we would have fared well in the national championship, but it was nice to at least get a piece of jewelry. The SEC championship, and a lot of guys don't understand. A lot of people, a lot of fans don't understand now. Um, Football has gained massive popularity over the last decade or so, or how important and how prestigious the SEC championship was back then. Some people said that was the real championship. You know what I mean? So that was, I still cherish that time to this day.
Yeah, no doubt. And I gotta ask because I'm pretty close with him, worked with him for 5 years. But do you have any fun DJ Shockley stories?
Fun DJ Shockley stories. Oh man,
This is more for my personal gain.
Shock was just Shock was just always a good guy, man. Like Shock was a rare talent, rare athlete, just a really good dude. I can't tell you that he never thought about leaving Georgia because I don't know what his thoughts was, but I know he stayed put and he ended up winning, SEC championship when he was at the helm. And I know that felt good for him to put in his time. And he played some. I blocked for DJ some, but he wasn't the guy. And for him to get a championship as the guy, I was so happy for him. One thing I can just remember about just shocked, just always remember him being just so athletic, man. Like he could take a basketball and take off. Like I remember him doing that a couple times. Like, whoa, 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 this cat is a real deal athlete. And and I also had some experience with shot later on, at the end of my professional career. Uh, he was out there. We did the UFL together, out there in Omaha, and it was always fun. Being with Shot, we call him Duck Man. Don't tell him I told you that. We call him Duck because of Donald. He's a Donald. He's a junior Donald Duck. So I call him Duck Man.
Oh man, no, I still give him crap for that because his email when we were with Fox together, it was donald.shockley@fox.com. So I'd always give him a lot of crap for that. But you're
Donald.
right, he is very secretive about the fact that DJ stands for Donald Jr. So
It won't
we
take much digging to find
I
out,
know
though.
it didn't. I just kind of figured DJ was
His,
his
his,
name.
it's not like his dad was just Joe Blow. His dad was a hell of a coach. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
It won't take long to figure it out.
No, no way, no way. But transitioning from that, your NFL career, first round pick,
Mhm.
you played with two pretty big guys from A, the University of Georgia, and B, Georgia Tech. Those guys rather, being Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson with the Detroit Lions. Do you have any stories about them? How talented they were? Obviously you were with them very early in their careers, but could you see the greatness that early on?
Well, I noticed Matthew Stafford's greatness just watching him play at Georgia. I'm a football junkie, so I probably saw every Stafford game there was when he was at Georgia. And I also the first thing that comes to mind when you think about Stafford is I had came back and I had went to I think I was training up there at Georgia. I went to his pro day and just he can zip it, man. And he still can. And so that I remember that mainly. I ended up being with him in Detroit for a little while. Then I ended up getting let go. But I did play with Calvin Johnson, aka Megatron. And that was I never seen anything like that. He was kind of I can't say he's you wouldn't call him the first of his kind because you had guys like Harold Carmichael and things like that, with just giant receivers. But I doubt, I don't know, no offense, if Mr. Carmichael, I don't know if he ran a 4.3,
I don't
and I
think
don't
so.
know, and he did not. Calvin was, 230 some pounds, 4.3, but he could play like a small guy.
Mhm.
And you never really saw that before, definitely in the modern era. You never really saw that before. You know, Julio was his own freak too, you know what I mean? But Calvin was that guy. And and I could just remember him coming out there. We draft him. You just remember him coming out to the first practice and we're like, who is that defensive end over there? Like, like that's what that's what edge rushers look like nowadays. Nowadays, give or take, maybe 15 pounds. That's what they look like. They look like Calvin Johnson right now. And that's what was crossing our mind over there as the offensive line. We hold it up together. It was like, man, look at that dude right there. It was kind of like whisper to ourselves, like, man, what is that? And like he was, what I'm saying? And then to see him play and get he had some success as a rookie. I have a picture of both of us, embracing after a touchdown he scored his rookie year. Um, so it was nice to see, to be a witness to greatness, and I was able to actually go up um and see him at the um at the Hall of Fame, because up there for Richard Seymour, end up seeing Calvin too.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, transitioning to the NFL, that being the team right just over my shoulder, the Atlanta Falcons. Very, very new era coming up for this team. Fans have been
Really,
patient for a long time. It's been a lot of different changes and really tumultuous times since Matt Ryan left the team as a player. You've had a different starting quarterback week one for every season since he left, and obviously no winning season since 2017. So, with all the changes that this team has going on right now and what they have done since then, hiring Kevin Stefanski, bringing Matt Ryan on as president of football, what are your thoughts with what that team has been doing lately?
um, I think the Falcons have had a serious case of underachieving. You know, the average fan probably wants to make a whole lot of changes roster wise. Oh, we need to do this. Oh, we need to get rid of this person. Oh, we need better at this position, this, that, and the other. The fact of the matter is the Falcons, I can't tell you that they've had a Super Bowl team the last, handful of years, but I can tell you they've had a better team than what they showed. Like especially last year, a lot of teams would like. And I know they had some injury and Penix went down and all that stuff, but I know there are a lot of teams that could have done something with that defense last year. There's a lot of teams that could have done something with the likes of Bijan, Drake, Kyle Pitts. Like they had enough to make more noise than they did. So it's going to be interesting what type of step they take forward. Um, uh, I'm kind of I say I'm a lot. I'm much of a what have you done for me lately type of guy. So I'll admit Stefanski wasn't my choice. You be a good coach. It's just I believe in decline. I believe in redemption too, but I believe sometimes decline is real. Maybe what if he's not a coach of the year anymore? What if that was, then this is now? What if that was just happenstance? So I believe in, you know, I believe in the possibility that, he may be what he was the last couple of years, but at the same time, I know I like the system that he comes from offensively. I played in it, although I'm more, you know, probably I want to call it archaic because the basics are still the basics, but and older it has evolved since I played for Kyle's dad. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing in theory, but there's a lot more going on with that offense, with that system now than it was 20 years ago. Um, but I would I'll put it up against any system out there. It's simple, for the people involved, you know, um, but it can be hell on the defense, and that's perfect. It's perfect for winning football games. Um, so we'll see. Obviously, Bijan is there. They need to, in my opinion, lock Drake up. Uh, need to keep Kyle around. Um, you want to have good players. It sounds, like duh, but you want to have good players. You don't want to make a habit of letting good players walk out the door. You want to coach them up and make them play good football for you. And so I think they have a lot of pieces. I can't see. My guess is, we can't count on anything from Pearson. I understand why, and I feel like it should be that way. That's not some good stuff right there. You don't want to be associated with that type of stuff. But you still got Jalen. You still got a couple guys in the middle. What's my man that had well, he probably had about 89 sacks. I forgot what this guy in the
Ebiketie?
middle. No, no, no.
Hayden?
Interior guy. Interior guy.
The
He's a
young guy.
rotational guy. He's
Shoot.
rotational, but
Yeah, you know why I
he
can't
was
think of
he
it.
was ranked fairly high in the
Dorless.
Dorless.
Yes. Hmm.
They got some guys to build off of. You got some guys in the back end. I think I think I think Terrell is a good. I think he's a good player. Of course, we got Bates. Um, I think they have the ability to add people. They just got to figure out where they're going to start out with quarterback. I don't think you're. It would be a disservice to the guys, to the good players you do have right now, to call next season a wash just because injured quarterback that's getting let go. I think they owe it to everybody on the team to figure it out at quarterback, and to make a run.
So bouncing off the quarterback question, the uncertainty behind Michael Penix Jr. not knowing when he might be coming back, whether that's training camp or start of the regular season, a few games into the regular season. But There seems to be some rumorville that Kyler Murray could be interested in the Atlanta Falcons. Do you think that is a good idea? And do you think it could work here in Atlanta?
Um, hmm, I don't know. I don't know Kyler as a person. You know what I mean? If he has the ability to lock in, if he has the ability to lock in and be all about helping that team win, of course, his physical ability is off the charts. You know what I mean? He's made he's made plays in this league. There's no doubt about that. He's a playmaker in this league. So if he's healthy and he's focused and he's rejuvenated, um, why not? You know what I mean? Like I saw a conversation the other day, like is Sam Darnold better than Kyler Murray? Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. You know what I mean? The ceiling of both of those guys, one is higher than the other that we've seen and read. Personal, Super Bowl aside, what we've seen out of both of those guys, you know, um, Kyler Murray's ceiling is higher. You know what I mean? Um, would he be more of a conversation if you're talking about him and some other guys? I don't know. Like obviously I got these ideas. I was watching my friend Bomani Jones talk football with some guys. I forgot the gentleman the other day, and it's like do you, is he bet who would you want, him or Baker? That becomes a little tougher conversation because you know Baker lit it up for a while, and then stuff happened. So like he's in the conversation. He's a starting quarterback. And what I don't think the average Joe realizes that if we're keeping it like real, true starting quarterbacks, there are not a lot of. There in a given year, you might not have 32, but 32 have to start. You know what I mean? I think he's a real quarterback, but I think you have to have um a plan for him.
I was about to say my follow-up question to that would be if you do believe that he is a starting quarterback in this league and maybe just needs another shot, what does that mean if you sign him with Michael Penix Jr. still in the building?
Um, you want to win games. You know, having having more than one good signal caller in the building, I don't think that's a bad thing. You know what I mean? Then you have a decision to make. You know what I mean? Kyler's, he's still not 30 yet. Um, I
God,
think
that's crazy.
I think people still talk in terms of uh 30 or being close to 30 is old. It's not even close to old at quarterback. Like talking about a guy that bangs all the time, yes, 30 is getting up there. Um, Quarterback, the guy on the field that has the most protection, he has protection from the league, protection from refs, and five dudes minimum tasked with protecting him. Most protected dude in sports. 30 ain't old at all.
Absolutely. All right. Well, now that we
Like,
chatted
honest,
Falcons,
2 years from 30, if I'm not mistaken. So
gotcha. I'll have to look at that. Yeah, no, I didn't realize he was that young, to be honest with you. But now that we talked Falcons, gonna kind of do some rapid fire, real quick ones here that are a little fun. So, UGA top five quarterbacks all time. George Foster's list. Go.
UGA, um, I'm gonna try to keep it to the guys that I can remember. I'm not gonna be, you know,
Fran
Fran.
Tarkenton.
So I've at least seen Fran Tarkenton play on video. So let's say number one has to be number one has to be Stetson Bennett. It's easy. It'd be easier for me for start to start at the top because I think Stetson. It's easy to try to look at Stetson as a Cinderella, but the fact of the matter is he's a really good football player.
Right. Back to back. He did it twice.
It's an odd package. You know, it's like Darren Sproles,
Hmm.
really, 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 really good football player. This is just different package. So it's
Hmm.
easy to look at him like, oh man, this overachiever. No, he did what he was supposed to do. He's very talented. So you end up, and then he does it the first time, then he does it again. He was surrounded by major talent, no doubt. But at the same time, I don't think we win a number of those games without Stetson. So I say he's number one. You probably have to say Matthew Stafford is number two. Then I have to say, uh, it probably have to be numbers based, and I don't know the numbers, but it's a good chance that Aaron Murray has better numbers than David Green.
He does. I actually confirmed this a couple days ago because I was talking to somebody about it. He's got the most touchdowns and most yards in SEC history.
So good. Did he have more wins than David though?
I don't believe so. I think David
That's
has more wins.
David was a winner. David was an overall winner. David had more wins than Peyton Manning. Like David was the winner. So I'm gonna go with David, and then really it really should be a tie. David and Aaron. Um uh hmm, who am I? Am I missing somebody that Braun was pretty damn good.
It's a good choice.
Braun was good. So I'm I'm gonna make my own rules. David and Aaron have to be tied at three.
Okay, there we go.
Then you have just for what he did record wise, and he played in the big one. I have to go from and then shot.
There we go. A little shout out to Shock. Love to see it. All right. And then the last question I got for you, sort of on the same type question. Your Georgia Mount Rushmore overall.
Overall. Um, hmm, that's tough. You gotta put Stetson on there. You gotta put David Pollock on there. You gotta put Garrison Hurst on there. It gets tricky.
About to say, I feel like there's one pretty big name that hasn't made his way on this list yet.
Herschel, I didn't say Herschel.
No.
So that's why it gets tough.
Because I said I probably would have said Herschel before Hurst, but that was just me.
That's the thing, man. Hurst got cheated out of a Heisman. If you were there,
Yeah, no, I mean I know that was before my
yeah,
time, but I have heard the
I was
stories. Yeah.
young, but I was there.
Yeah.
And I was he got cheated out of a Heisman. So he should get a lot. He should be more celebrated than he is. People that know, but I'm talking about the casual should know. Who just like the casual knows what Herschel did.
Mhm.
It should be the same way for Garrison. Um, so it's kind of that's tough, man. So you got you got for the longest time, you know, there was no Stetson Bennett. So he wouldn't have been on anybody's Mount Rushmore. Then boom, he hits the scene with two championships. He's the guy. So you got him, you got Herschel, you got Pollock is one of the most decorated players of all time, regardless of position.
Mm.
Um, and he happened to win to Georgia, so he has to go up there. So it's tough. Um, is Terrence Edwards still the leading receiver of all time at Georgia? I think he is. Like it's some guys, you know what I mean? Um, yeah, so that's tough. So you got Herschel, you got DP, you got you got Champ Bailey. Like
There's a lot of good ones. There's a lot, even Brock Bowers. I feel like he might even have an argument.
Brock Bowers is yes. It's impossible. I'm not doing this with
That's
you.
fair. That's fair. It's a broad question.
I'm
It's a
not doing
broad
with you.
question.
Because Brock Bowers is
Um,
the best players I've ever seen play college football.
yeah, you were teammates with a lot of good ones.
Sorry. He's one of the best players I've ever seen.
No doubt. And I did have one more that just popped into my brain as I was talking to you. So it's a new age of college football, transfer portal, NIL, that type of stuff. If all this stuff existed back then, I know it seems like the Wild West out there in college football now, but with NIL and the amount of money some of these cats are making these days, among your teammates, the guys that you played with, we've discussed ad nauseum the talent that you were surrounded by. Who do you think would have been the highest earner on those Georgia Bulldogs teams alongside you?
Champ Bailey. Yeah, let me be champ.
Yeah, think he would have hooked up a lot of NIL deals there?
And champ. I feel like I'm trying to think of the times. I'm trying to match it to the times. Um, I feel like Dave Pollard probably be more popular now. Yeah, man. Musa was good. Musa was good. Musa would have got some money. Probably Champ. Yeah, Champ would probably be the guy to rake in all the money. Now,
I feel like David Green was a little too vanilla back then.
yeah, but he would have, he's a quarterback. He would have
Sure, yeah.
won a lot of games. He was got some money too. Um, Probably Terrence, 1,000 yard receiver.
Mhm.
Um, I'm trying to think defense. Charles Grant was
Mhm.
pretty. I played with like 5 first round D linemen.
I was about to say, yeah, you had some good guys on that team, man.
Yeah, I played with 5 first round D linemen, so that's pretty. It's a lot. It's a lot. Like I said, I told somebody the other day, I played with over 60 some guys that went to the NFL.
Wow,
It's not.
that's incredible.
Don't do that.
That's insane, honestly.
Guys that probably got out of guys that got at least a year in the NFL, I played with over 60 of them.
That's insane.
You
That's
know,
awesome.
you pay those type of players.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Ain't no telling what you gonna let Marcus Stroud walk out the door? Richard
That's
C.
true. Yeah, you can't.
No, you don't do that.
No way, no way. Now, wrapping this up, the last question I got for you, I really appreciate you taking the time here. What do you have going on these days? What's going on in George Foster's life?
Man, I'm trying to get, I have two daughters in college and two still in high school. So the high school ones, trying to get them into this world. uh, I have a junior and a senior, trying to get them out into this world and do things like this when people call on me. Uh, I need to really start. As you can see, this logo right here,
I was just about to ask you about that. Yeah, I like that.
media. You know what I mean? Let's talk about it. Uh, I've been procrastinating on that stuff right there, but something's coming. You know what I mean? The ideas are there.
Hmm.
I just want to get into a space as to where I could be consistent because
Name of the
that's the
game.
name when you're talking content. And not would I be chasing anything? No. I just know, to make it worth your while, you need to be consistent. And so I got the ideas. I know the people I want to talk to and things of that nature, but that should be next on the docket right there.
Absolutely. Well, I think we're all looking forward to it. And I really appreciate you coming on. Hopefully, we see this logo on your microphone out and about very soon because you got a lot of great insight, a lot to offer and tell the casual fan, whether that's the Georgia Bulldogs, the Atlanta Falcons, you name it. You are filled with knowledge, and we do appreciate you coming on the Nest ATL once again to speak with me about the dogs and the Atlanta Falcons. George, I appreciate the time, man.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me.